Darc N Moody, Moody and Dark. It's been real from the start. Speak the truth, then you playing your part. Nothing fake here. We've been real since daycare. Some change, some stay there. Came from the streets, we speak for the streets, we speak for the youth. Nothing but truth. Feel it in the booth, feel it in your soul, feel it in the cell, feel it on parole, feel it on probation, feel it when you free, totally free. Pardon me, till they pardon me, till they pardon we. Positivity from negativity, back to positivity. The podcast for the streets, helping you eat. We live by the code, we live what we speak. We revolutionize real love, honor, respect, loyalty, educating the masses, bringing unity. It's all or nothing. The podcast for you and me is Darc N Moody. We the voices of the community.
I hear voices right now. I can hear them just as plain as day.
Yeah. What up? This your boy Darc.
And it's your boy Moody, man.
You know what I'm saying? This is Darc N Moody, all or nothing. You know what I mean? We got a guest in the building, a professional. You know what I mean? One of our few professionals we had on the on the Darc N Moody.
Yeah, we got a black queen.
A black queen, a black. Yeah. Any nicknames you go by, or you just want to give them the real government right now?
My original government name is Tia Rhinehart, but my clients have given me the nickname the unorthodox counselor, which I have kept for the last 7 years.
Facts. You know what I mean? The unorthodox counselor.
Yeah, I definitely want to know what that is.
Yeah, we're gonna get into all of that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Word. Tia Rhinehart. You know what I mean? She's a therapist, correct?
Yes.
You know what I mean? So this a therapist on the show. Hopefully we'll have her as a recurring person.
Absolutely.
To have discussions with y'all.
Yes.
Or you little young queen.
Yes. We
Yeah,
need to get to you guys for sure.
Word up. So, you know, we want to get into it with Miss Tia. We gonna ask Tia, you know, how you grew up. Where's Tia from, first and foremost?
Okay. So I've been born and raised in Waterbury. I have 4 brothers, 2 sisters. My parents
shout out to the dirty water too.
My parents, they call, you know, my mom Shelby, my father Big Will. A lot of people know both of them.
So you grew up in a house with both parents?
Yes, my parents have been together for 51 years and been married for 46 years. They just had an anniversary last week.
Oh, awesome. Happy anniversary, parents. You know, shout out to both parent households, dual parent households.
What part of Waterbury?
What part
of Waterbury?
Oh, you know I'm between the south side and the east end. We grew up in Springbrook Projects, which was always like in the cut, borderline of Naugatuck, and considered part of the south side, mostly Hispanic neighborhood area, more Caucasians too, as you hit like Jersey Street, and then you going into Naugatuck. Over the years, when I hit about probably like 11, 12, we end up moving up Willow, which everybody knows. Willow is extremely chaotic. A lot of deaths been going on up there. We used to live at the top, and I absolutely hate Willow still to this day. I just got trauma from there. So over the years, after things got better, you know, we end up moving to the east end, and we've been over there for over like 30 years over there. So, my parents.
Growing up in Waterbury, you wanted to stay there, so you still in Waterbury?
No, I bought my first piece of property last year, so I actually promised my son that we was moving to Hampden. So because all his friends is out this way, and he has he's 4 or 5 traveling leagues. His father's heavily involved, and his father lives in Hampden. And so I told my son, the minute I could get us closer just to make things easier for you too, that's what I'm gonna do. I'll spend my money for you.
So you live in Hampden now?
Yes.
So have you stopped by La Isla Spanish restaurant yet?
I just found out that they're next door to my house.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Shout out
Today.
to La Isla Spanish
Yes.
Restaurant, y'all. 2779 Dixwell Avenue, Hamden, Connecticut. Come get some of that good food, man. It's the best. It's the best around, and I'm not biased.
I want me some acapuria.
Yeah.
I'm big on. I love that.
Price
I'll
of
be by
Acapulco
there.
going up. Y'all Diaz is like $55 a case.
I don't care. I want it. You can get my money.
Yeah. So tell our peoples like what kind of games you played as a kid. Like what was fun for you as a child.
Ooh, well,
You know when you say something, you're gonna show your age. So watch
well,
what
I
you say.
just turned 41, and I say that gracefully. I feel great for 41. I actually feel like I'm younger than 41, and I have to remind myself, myself like, "Model, for you really 41?" Like, yeah. But growing up, like, that's a great question because a lot of times people don't think about back when they were younger. And playing, I'm gonna be honest, I was always into reading books, and I was always taking care of my brothers and sisters and stuff. They did a lot of sports and played games, kickball, softball.
So you did no games as a kid?
I wasn't into that. My parents even. I was always heavy into reading, sewing, like that type of, like, I was into grown people stuff because we was parentified at a young age. So that aspect of playing, there was no playing. They had
no tag, no nothing.
They played release and go get it. They was out there. I was too busy. Nah, a lot of times I used to be like, damn, I really wish I was doing more teenage or childlike stuff, but that just wasn't in the cards for me. But so when I look back now, I just thank God because it was all designed. Because I think if I wasn't parentified at a young age the way I was, I don't think I'll really be talking to y'all right now, truth be told.
Yeah. What about your books as a kid? You say you read a lot. What was your favorite book?
Like growing up, riding dirty on I-95, Candy Liquor, Sister Soldier, Coldest Winter Ever.
That's a great
book. But then, my dad came home from prison. It was like, all right, he was big on us reading anyway, because he didn't get to finish school when he was younger. So he made sure he wasn't playing about us kids finishing academics, graduating, going to college. It wasn't up for discussion. It wasn't a debate. And so, he came out of prison. It was like, yo, you was reading your Bible. He made sure you knew Psalms 91 with your eyes closed. Spit Psalms 91 for us. He who dwells in the shelter of the Most High, rests in the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God in whom I trust. Surely He will save you from the fowler's snare, and under His wings you will find refuge.
Yo, shout out, peace to all the Christians out there. Assalamu alaikum to all the Muslims out there, and shalom to my Jewish brothers. Yes. And if you don't have anything, what's up to you too? But find God.
Yeah, now, that right there, that's big. That's big right there when we talk about spirituality. I will literally go toe to toe with anybody on that because I have to remind people it's not about religion. Mm-hmm. It's about spirituality.
It's about your relationship with God.
So we're talking. So when we knowing that there's something greater than you, right? Whoever you got of understanding is, because if we want to try to keep the people, we got to be mindful, right? So, being able to say, all right, so if you don't believe, now I'm not going to be, getting on you because you don't believe in God. My only question to you is going to be this. I need you to think about a situation you've been in your life that couldn't no man, woman, or person on this earth possibly gotten you out of. And you ain't got to even give me an answer right now. Come back to me when you got it. I don't care when it is. And there's always something.
Yeah, and some
so that you just want to wear it up.
Yeah. Like I've lived a rough life. I have a bunch of those situations. You know what I mean? Like I was shot in the chest at the age of 16, lung collapsed, was almost gone, and came back by the grace of God. I got cut from here to here.
Yes.
14 years old, and I'm still here.
Yes.
I had life in prison, 100 years in prison. Gave the time back, and I'm here.
Yes.
So God got a purpose for me. So
Yes.
watch out for big things. This
Yes.
might be it. Darc N
Yes.
Moody might be the big
Yes.
thing that
Yes.
was meant for
Yes.
me.
Yeah,
Yes.
just like Darc, I've been through situations where it's like unbelievable that like I'm trapped in the car and there's guns on me and I came out
Oh
with a
yeah,
scratch.
and I got grazed in the back of the head right here with a bullet when I was 10.
Okay,
So,
I see it. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know if I told you about that.
Mm.
Yeah, like so, I'm here for a real reason.
And
Word up.
everybody, good, bad, ugly, and different, have a purpose. The problem is people are striving to find it, and some people don't even know that they really supposed to have a purpose, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that this is where we get a lot of chaos and stuff going on. So finding purpose, in order to find purpose, a lot of time, people they want to feel love, connected, and accepted, because then that's going to give them the drive to want to keep doing right and find that thing. And some people are not feeling connected. Some people are not feeling heard. Some people not feeling like they have anybody to talk to about all this stuff going on. All that right there going on, like I literally felt that in my soul just now.
Yeah.
And I'm literally like, there's nothing out here you can't do. Like literally, whatever it is you want to do, you could do. You done had more than 9 lives. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
The Lord and the angels is walking with you hard body, like
Yes.
fully shielded up. You can't dispute that. Like you wrapped in his wings. Just imagine you right there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Imagine the angels all around you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you still got God's wings, your God, with his wings wrapped around you. You triple double protected. You understand what I'm saying? Ain't nothing getting through that. So this is why holding on to that relationship, and even when things is bad, that's the best time to be really reaching out to him. Talk to him like y'all talk to each other, or you talk to, your friends. Your God, there's no different. And that's what really be holding us to get through, whether people believe it or not. We can't do it by ourselves. No way.
A lot of times people usually reach out to God, from my understanding, when they're in a dark place.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And when people get to a higher place, it's like they forget that God is God, because I know that when I was in the dungeon, I was searching for the Most High. Like I was searching for the Most High. I had life in prison. I was searching. I was like, I can't live like I was living, because it got me here.
Yes.
Regardless if I pulled the trigger or not.
Yes.
It got me in prison. So I gotta figure out a way to be different. You know what I mean?
In the midst of that, right? When you talk about like being in prison, and I know you was in prison too. Have you guys felt like when you got in there and you said you knew you had to change, right? But you knew you needed something to help you with that up here. Because you like, that's why you calling on, you trying to find God, because you like, I need something to hold on. Who gonna hold me in the middle of the night when it's dark? I'm crying alone. You ain't got your wife to come hold you.
No.
You got nobody but you and God. That's it.
Yeah.
So it's when we start getting on that, because I could get real, I
No,
love
that's
God, and I love, my clients. I had some my Muslim family that I had for the last couple of years. I told them when they came, I said, I'm Christian, but this is therapy. This has nothing to do with religion, but whatever your religious beliefs are, I want to be able to tie that into therapy for you. And that's I had to learn some of the Quran to be able to treat them. Just being able to have my book with me when the husband says something or the wife, I was able to, and I think that was the best thing for me, because it really opened my eyes to how important it is to really be meeting people on every single level, no matter what their spirituality is, to be able to make that connection. Who would have known I'd still be with them 4 years later? I would have never thought that, I figured that by now they probably, but them even trying to teach me, the alphabets and Arabic and all that, like it's amazing, because I live by Proverbs 27:17, as iron sharpens iron, one person sharpens another. I live like that my entire life. So I need to learn from them as well. It ain't about me, it's about them too. And I have to learn too. That's how we all come together.
Yeah, real Muslims that believe in the Sunnah of the Prophet. The Bible is the Muslims' book too. You know that, Moody?
Nah, but I'm gonna tell y'all a story first before we go any further. That and I testified about this. And you're a therapist, so you might have ran into stuff like this. Sometimes people don't comprehend the way people think they're supposed to.
Yes.
So how I got into the Bible was I didn't understand it.
Yes.
It was a brother who came and he taught me, but he taught me, I'm gonna say hood way. He made the stories so I can understand them.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
Yo, that's whistling.
Yes.
So now as I'm reading the stories, but I'm reading it like a hood way.
Right.
Give me an example.
Like I ain't know David and Goliath was a story in the Bible. So when he put it, he's like, yo, that's a young boy. He trying to take his block.
Yes.
Yeah.
He said Goliath, he think he a bully.
Yes.
So Dave can't do. Homeboy had the big shotty. David had the knife. He ran up on him and handled him.
Well said.
That's how he showed
Well
me.
said.
And I was baptized under Luke.
Tupac.
No, not Tupac. But the lost sheep.
Yeah.
And when he explained to the lost sheep, he's like, yo, no man left behind. That's the word he used.
Yes.
When God said, we're gonna go get, it's 99 there, supposed to be 100, but homeboy back there, we're gonna go get him.
Yes.
So there's no man left behind. So that's how I was taught, because that's the only way I can understand it.
Yes.
And some people start teaching people stuff and they don't know if they could comprehend it the way that they're teaching it.
Yes. That's what I like to call a true bilingual. So we talk about learning different languages, but to me, we meeting a person, however you need to explain it for them to get the message, that's how you got to do it. If I want to sit at the table and talk with dudes about getting money and having money, I can have that conversation. We talking about being broke, I can have that conversation. We talking about being a single parent, I can have that conversation. You talking about holding your child dead in your arms because they dead and you can't bring them back. I could talk about that. I could meet you wherever. Because no matter whatever you tell, like I could literally feel like I feel it, and it's sincere and it's genuine, and that's what I vibe off of. Everybody talking a lot about energies and vibrations. I'm like, listen, when I come in anywhere, anything I have to say to anybody, I just say, Lord, let me just help me speak and breathe through you, because I don't know what I'm gonna say, because I don't know what the question gonna be. I just know when I say it, that's just gonna be what it is.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be sincerely from my heart, no matter how it come out.
How you feel about people not wanting to use the word God and want to use the universe? How do you feel about
we
that?
had a great me and my dad, that's my guy. We had a great conversation about that. It's to each his own.
Yeah.
Because if we really want to, let's say, we really want to get
one question,
okay,
you could get into that.
Okay, I got you.
I want to say, do you feel in any way that it's them just trying to just not want to be it's God?
No, I don't believe that. I don't. I believe that I've been getting into this book. I had ordered it. I read a couple inserts of it. By Darc N Moody. It's called The African Religious Spirituality, right? So that, just even a couple pages I read, I was already blown away that I had to just order the book, because what you talking about when we talk about like the universe, and then we like to say God, right? when we start looking at like the ancestors and stuff like that, and if we start getting into like, you know, the African roots and stuff, the way we say God, they really do too. They do it. It's just that, like, let's say we got shoes on, right? They won't wear shoes because their natural feet to the ground connects them to the soil, to the earth. You see what I'm saying? There's different ways. Like when they're sitting up there talking about, you know, the ancestors, the earth, you know, the wind, the fire, all of that together to them is their God. Our God is how we view our God from what we read in our books and our teachings, right? So that's what we go on. So, but we know that our God made earth, right? He made light. And when it was dark and we was being born and growing in our mother's womb, being intricately woven, when it was dark, he made light, right? What's the difference with them then? They ain't out here going to kill nobody, just, you know, offer they earth, wind, fire type stuff. You understand what I'm saying? There's no difference. So because their spirituality, the way that they did things traditionally is different from the Westerners, they look at it as they're doing sorcery or voodooism and all this stuff. And that's not even the case. I had to get knowledgeable and started reading on that, and that blew me away. I was literally like, my brain was on a fire because I couldn't even, like, you know how you just get hit with something that just everything you thought of just almost damn near went out the window. Because I had to like look, and then the guy said about you looking at that, and then you looking at how we with our books and then how they do it. They still trying to be loving, kind, and compassionate, just like our God. Whoever your God of understanding is wants you to be loving, kind, and compassionate. Yeah. Period.
What about the people who rubbing crystals and stuff like that? Energy crystals and mood crystals.
But check it. This is why it still go back to how they view things. Now, my Bible is gonna say he not playing that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He not playing that. But that's not to say.
Is that idol worship? Maybe.
Well, sure. If we want to start talking about idol worship, we be idol worshiping a whole lot of things. If we want to get real raw and uncut,
people do. But you know if it's a wrong.
Like, I know I ain't going to worship no crystals and all. Like, I'm not. Tell me. Oh no, no. I don't even want to say candy man. You know what I'm saying?
Bloody Mary.
Oh, we don't do that. My friend, we just have a little joke about that. Like, nah, don't. Yeah. I don't want to invite. I ain't trying to invite no eagles.
What the guy at your park? What is it? The horseless, headless horseman or something? And every part used to say that when we was a kid.
Oh yeah. No,
it was something
I
else
ain't trying.
Look, up in New Haven, it was a thing. I forgot what it was, man. It was big. Everybody knew it. Don't say that. Don't say that.
At the graveyard?
Wait, look, and just even think about it. I'm like this. Hold on.
Yeah, everybody knew it.
But you know what? Real talk though. That when you said that, it made me think of like when my grandmothers and them be like, oh, my grandmother and them just like, go sprinkle the salt, keep out by the door, keep the devil out, put the blessed oil on it. You know what I'm saying? And then they used to be like, and ask God every day to protect you with the blood of Jesus. So when bad stuff going down, you're like, Lord, protect me with the blood of Jesus, protect me with the blood. Like, oh God, please, I don't want to be caught up in nothing. And you think about like all this stuff that, we were taught growing up. And so a lot of, I feel like even like a lot of individuals sometimes get lost just trying to figure out because they were raised with their parents' truths and beliefs. You know what I mean? And then so you living off of that because they teach you these things. But then as you get older and you start having your own experiences and stuff like that, you start developing your own truths and your own identity. And so it may be different than what you was raised upon. So now we're talking about internal warfare with old attitudes and beliefs versus new attitudes and beliefs. And this is where a lot of breakdown of just everything, because you could lose loved ones. You could lose a lot in the process of transition. And so there's just a lot that comes with that.
Yeah. I want to go back real quick. Take us back to your high school years, right? And as a high school child, you being 41 right now, you said your age.
Listen, I say my age gracefully.
So reverse no 41, reverse it. You're 14. Now you're in high school. You're a freshman in high school at 14.
Yes.
How was your freshman years in high school?
High school.
And did you see yourself when did you see yourself being a therapist? What age were you when you, but give me 14 and then give me that.
Okay. I always came from a family of hustlers anyway. So naturally I was gonna go get it like they was gonna go get it. The only difference is I was gonna make sure anything I did was gonna be legal. So I worked a full time. I was working a job at 14. You ain't even supposed to really work but a little summer job back then. So you get your little summer job, you stacking your money. My dad owned a oil or essence shop. My dad owned a ice cream shop, a deli, a record shop. My family was the first family in Woodbury to have a pharmacy, first family to have a trucking company. And I'm the first in my family to have an outpatient treatment program. So at 14, I was already getting money. I was working, whether it's my dad's store, doing something on the side, to the point where high school, it was like you did just enough to get by. So you ain't think about your grades like that. You know what I'm saying? Plus, I'm taking care of my younger brother and sister. My older brother, he into basketball and school and stuff like that. So it was like everybody's all over the place. But let me tell you something. I made sure I had me a whip. Was driving a stick shift. My first car, I had a 1982 yellow Honda with the sunroof. That thing is so ugly. And I was like, I don't want this, Dad. No, he was like, it was fine and I was just driving. I said, I'm gonna ride it, but I'm parked this shit way in the back. Joe got the Honda.
And that's in high school.
Yes. Yeah. Got that Honda, rode that baby to school. It lasted a week. The car broke down. My dad said, all right, I just wanted to see if you was going to try to not drive it just because you want to be cute. But I see that you was humble. So you could have, he had a, 1989 Honda Accord. Remember the one with the flip lights in the front? Mm-hmm. And it was stick shift. That was my baby. So I'm riding to school. I got a full-time job now. I'm 16. I got a full-time job. Plus my dad got the store. I'm just getting money and I just want to be flying and drive to school. When it was time to graduate, when it's time to graduate, and them grades is okay. And then it's time to, my dad like, oh, you put your applications in for school. My mom like, where the applications at? Where the letters at? They was all denied. You know why?
Your grades.
Exactly. It wasn't that it wasn't here. I was too busy worrying about making sure I had money saved, making sure I had my own car so I had to ask them for nothing. All this adult stuff and not being able to be you know what I'm saying? Just trying to make sure I could help or do this or whatever. And so when I couldn't get into the schools I wanted to get into, because I always wanted to go to like an HBCU, and I used to be like, I got to get over there. But I couldn't because of the grades. So that was definitely a heavy hitter for me. It was a lesson learned, but I actually excelled staying out this way. I was actually able to do a whole lot of things this way.
And what school you went to?
I went and got an associate's and bachelor's from Briarwood College. They changed it over to Lincoln Tech. So I started out over there getting a bachelor's and associate's in criminal justice. Then I went to Post and got my master's in clinical counseling concentration. And that was my focus since then throughout the years.
That's what's up. Shout out to people who don't quit.
Yeah, I see.
Keep going.
Pop Deuce is
You know what I'm
proud,
saying?
Oh man, he wanted to come so bad today. I mean, he was like, Tia, I should have never picked up that overtime. I want to go because I heard about them boys. I said, Dad, real talk. I said, I'll try to get you out there. He's 73 and he looks 35.
So let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Shout out to Pops, man. Shout out to Pops.
Earlier, you said that your father was locked up. I don't know if you want to talk.
No,
about it.
we can't. We an open book around here. My father, we open
What
book.
that say on the bottom? Hold on. Let it go a little bit. All right, boom.
Darc N Moody. All or nothing.
There we go.
And that's how I live, because I'm either black or white. I ain't no lukewarm, I ain't no gray area. What you see, what you get. Give it to me.
I got a question for you. So the question is, how long your father did?
My father, the longest bit he did was 5 straight. All the other ones was a little 2, a little 3-year, but the longest was that solid 5.
So how old you around that 5?
When he did that, when he went in, I was about, I want to say probably like 8.
Okay. Now this is my question.
Yes.
How did that make you feel your father being away? And how did he communicate with you to keep you on track? Because you said when he came home, he gave you the book.
Oh yeah. You know, my father wrote letters consistently, and I will never forget this one particular letter that he wrote. I still remember where I was at standing, and I just remember him saying, I'm getting a little emotional just thinking about, like, him saying, he was like, I will never leave you. And when he said that, and I still just get goosebumps right now, that till this day, he has been there. Like, he was even there before going to jail. And even being in jail, you still could be a father, because you're still dropping jewels. You're still giving encouragement. That like, my mom got the letters he used to write us, they laminated. Like, you was to never forget this, because that was hard.
Yeah.
That was ugly. Like, I still get, like, just thinking about it, you know.
What do you think? Your mother and your father, they had a steady relationship.
Yes.
What about the parents that the mother and the father are not together, and the mothers are not letting the fathers be the fathers?
Listen, I do not like that. I argue that with anybody tooth and nail, because at the end of the day, right, we need men, and we need men to be sound mind, body, and spirit. I need here and here to be in sync together. You see what I'm saying? I can't have this here and this here, because then you ain't no good to none of us. But when you got this and this together, we got something to work with. We need more male role models. When my son go get a haircut, I need him to be able to have conversations and hear, yo, pick your chin up, or yo, I saw you on the game, or, you know, do this, or, you know, just encouragement. And that's why mothers should never, ever take that away. I don't care what that man did, because at the end of the day, it's about the message, not the messenger. You understand what I'm saying? So the message that he trying to get at child, but you so busy caught up in the wrong stuff or worried about old stuff that's old, dead, and gone. I mean, you're doing more damage to the child than by not letting them talk to their father when you think you actually doing them justice, but you're really not. Because then the child grows up to have a lot of attachment issues and anger and resentment. And we know what that can look like. Mm-hmm. Attachment issues is a big issue.
Darc, you know, he got while he was in jail before he got married, he had 3 children. And I was fortunate to have my baby mothers and them, you know, make sure they send letters and stuff like that. I don't know what Darc was going through, but I know, you know, the pain that he was going through, not being able to talk to him and speak to him.
I know he had to be sick.
Females, sometimes, I believe, they use children when they're mad at, say, if I'm just using an example. My baby mother mad at me. I'm mad at you. You was over here. You was doing this. Mm-hmm. You can't see your son. Mm-hmm.
And it
What
hurt-
that got to do?
But that's
that's the way of hurting you.
Yes.
But it's hurting the child.
Yeah,
right,
but they're not caring about
but they
that.
don't
They're thinking
care about
hurting you.
right, because their mission, their tunnel vision is I
know he loves that
to,
boy. I know he loves his
yeah.
kid. So I'm gonna take him away and it's
Yes.
gonna hurt him.
Yes.
It is gonna hurt that baby, and that's.
But they don't realize
They don't
that.
think about that, and let me tell you, when the kids get hurt, the consequences is too deep.
Yeah.
That you can't. It's almost like
They don't realize
how can I even fix this?
But
Because
you can't
it's
tell them.
exactly.
But some kids, where they get to the fact you don't call, but you're not getting through. So then to the kid,
yes.
And I talked to Scott Lewis' son, and he was saying something like, "My father wasn't calling him." Like, how you know your father wasn't calling?
Yes.
He probably was calling. Your mother wasn't answering.
Yes.
So you grew up thinking he's not calling. You think he's not writing you, and he wrote you. Your mother's not giving it to you.
Yes.
I wrote my kids, we was together. I wrote my kids even before they could read or write. I wrote them a letter a week. My whole incarceration, the whole time I was in there, I wrote my kids a letter a week.
Yes.
If they got it, I never got letters back in return, but I wrote them still.
Yes.
I always wrote.
Yes.
Whatever I was doing, I'm thinking once a week I wrote.
Did they ever get to get them and eventually read them?
I know one of my sons got my letters, and he broke down about it. It was later in life, you know what I mean? But I still wrote once a week, you know what I mean? And it changes perspective for the child, the way he look at you.
Yes.
It changes their
Yes.
vision of you a little
Yes.
bit. You know what I mean? Because those letters show you care.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So,
I surprised my son when I came home. I had a box, letters, pictures. They don't remember. They can't because they were little.
Mhm.
And when they saw, they were like, "For real, I don't remember that." Yeah, you don't remember. You was 3 years old, 4 years old when you wrote that. But it's mine now.
yeah.
Yes.
You know, it's classic.
Yeah.
And those be the moments that start sinking in, like you really was trying your best to do what you can to try to get in contact with me.
Let me ask you a question, being a therapist, right? PTSD, the different forms of PTSD. How do you diagnose it, and how do you speak to it?
PTSD right now is really, trauma is a big one right now. People are acknowledging trauma. Trauma comes in many different forms. There's assessments like the PCL-5 that you would do. It's about, I want to say.
What's the PCL-5?
PCL-5 is this check for, it's like a quick screening to see if they have possible PTSD, and then you will go, and whatever that score is, then you will go to the do further assessments, because you're looking at, okay, is it just anxiety or depression? Is this really trauma? Like there's, like you really, to be given a person a diagnosis, like you really got to be in there. You got to be with that person. You have to really be watching body language. You got to be listening. It's a process, not something that some people think they could just go do it and, all right, you got PTSD. No, it's a process of diagnosing. We're talking about looking at nightmares, flashbacks. Can you still remember the trauma? What's the intensity that you feel with your emotions? Do you feel like you're to blame? Do you blame the whole world for your problems? There's like 30 something, I want to say 20 to 30 some questions on that particular one. How much, was it a motor vehicle accident? Did somebody hurt you? Was it a shooting? Or was it a stabbing? Some stuff that you'll be like, okay, of course, I'm sure somebody shook up off of that. But what could be traumatizing to you may not be traumatizing to me, but something else minute to anybody else is traumatic to me.
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying?
Growing up in an urban community,
yeah.
is it a different threshold? Because I know a lot of these things come from a book, and this is how you diagnose this. But growing up in an urban community.
Yeah.
Shouldn't it be like a different threshold?
So this is why this is good. So this is why we talk about when they try to get people to, getting culturally competent, stuff like that, learning how to really like look at everybody's environment. Because here, what may seem crazy here may not necessarily be crazy over there. So in the urban community, we experience so much traumatic stuff that it's actually almost looks normalized, but it's really trauma in every way, shape, or form. And most people, when you would hear trauma in the earlier stages, the first thing somebody say was like, have you been sexually assaulted? Have you been, molested or something like that? Nah, it's bigger than, it's more than that. Yo, you come in here, if you come, somebody could have been assaulted in a room with this green on, right? And then
What green?
Oh,
What
sorry,
green?
shit. I'm sorry.
That's a therapist.
But see, I'm looking beyond. But let's say a person could be triggered off of a color. They could have been assaulted, or let's say been in a car with somebody and a black car drove up and shot at them. So now any black car, the whole rest of their life, they shook. They won't even buy a black car. They won't even get in the car with nobody who got a black car. You see what I'm saying? Like stuff that you would just be surprised. You could get assaulted by these items in here. Next thing you know, I never want to see a microphone again. We're talking about growing up in a single parent household is traumatic. I don't care what nobody says. Even when the times when my dad wasn't there, that still was a headache.
It was traumatic for me too. That's why I don't want to be alone. Growing up without my dad in the house, I don't want to provide. I want to provide a stable home for my child. Because I know how it get real in the club. I know that how I have an abusive stepfather that used to like fight you and beat up on your mom and stuff like that. Like, I don't want to give that to my kids. You know what I mean? Yeah. Or even be mean towards to stepchildren because I've been there. You know what I mean? Yes. So
I'm sorry you had to experience that.
You was talking about. I'm just like, when I was like 12, the dude was playing with a gun. He playing. I was like, yo, stop playing with that gun. And he like, what? Click, click, click. Pow! And it went past my head. Since that point in my life, I don't like when people play with guns. Like, I'm in the hood, dudes pull. I like, yo, don't pull out. I don't like people pull out like you having a bullet in the head. I don't like none of that. If you got a gun, I'd be like, yo, you got one in the head? Because a dude actually thought it was nothing in the revolver. Yeah. It was click, click, click. And I shot, click, pow, and the joint went off. So since then, I'm like, people were like, oh, how you afraid of guns? No, I don't really like guns. Because they could really go off.
That's not really being afraid of guns. That's just being smart.
Yeah, they go off. Your cousin
shouldn't play with a gun.
So let's say,
and people so reckless, it could go off and hit you, and that hit could be your life.
So then going throughout life, it would be like, are you having, how is your body feeling when you have come in contact with that, or are you avoiding people, places, and things associated with that? Are you having nightmares? Are you having flashbacks? Are you sweating? Are you clenched up? Like, all these little subtle things are like all of that.
Nah, I get it.
But nobody might not know because it's you internally.
He might drop the gun and go off.
Your heart probably a mile a minute when that's going on, but ain't nobody know. Like, you just trying to hold it together. You know what I'm saying? But you inside, you about ready to just, oh God, please
take it from me. Give me this damn gun.
Oh no, he can have it. I just don't like dudes playing with it.
I understand, but I'm saying when they doing that, like, you want to be like, man, give me that.
Yeah, let me hold it.
I'm more safe.
And then it's like, just put it on the ground and I grab it. Like, don't even hand it to me because I don't even.
You might go pow.
Yeah. I think, there's a lot of too, like, not just like PTSD, but vicarious trauma. So a lot of people don't think about that, but that's another thing too that's important. And vicarious trauma would be something that would you witness something happen to him, and it's almost as if it's happening to you. And even though it ain't happening to you, but you feeling all that. Now it's affecting your livelihood, just like with PTSD. If it's affecting you working, functioning, interfering with your daily life, this is when stuff becomes a problem, when you're not able to handle your normal daily activities as you normally would, when it's becoming affected. That vicarious trauma, I seen something on this was like 5 years ago, and I still get nauseous every now and again about it. My client she was scheduled for an appointment. She came, she banging on the door. I open it, and she's holding her cell phone like this, and she's crying, and I can't get no words out of her. And I'm looking, and
this was a dream?
No, this is really happening. And she's holding the phone, she's handing it to me. I look, this guy was sexually assaulting on live Facebook a child. And when we talk about the vicarious trauma, this is the trauma I have. I ain't want to be touched, period, after that for a long time. I couldn't even look at barrettes. They had come to find out, with this being live, that with this individual, this grown man was doing live, the whole world the police, everybody was trying to get this guy. They ended up getting him. But the fact that this was live, and knowing all the people that have social media and probably have been sexually assaulted and stuff, and then you got a little 5-year-old girl with a grown man live. I wasn't around. You asked me about it. Don't touch me. I'm not being around. I couldn't even near not a nothing. Yo, real talk.
As a grown woman.
As a grown woman, because of that. I was physically sick. And then, so if I'm in the store and I see somebody, little black girl, got a barrette, I'm physically sick. And it took me like 3 years to get out of that. That's how bad it was. It was like, who could do, like, you hear about it, but when you see it live, it was a different ball game. It affected me big time. It affected me.
When you seen it, did you, what?
We was like, call 911. Nah, call 911. Where he at? What's the location? Where, they in a whole Alabama somewhere. Yeah. But everybody on social media across the world was watching it, to the point where they was like, don't share nothing, because they'll consider it like child pornography. But people in their good nature was just trying to get it to the police. So even though they sharing it, it was considered, sharing child pornography, where, you could be arrested for it. But they end up getting I followed that case for a minute too. They end up getting that dude, and coming to find out he had a long history. The girl mother, it was a mess. It was a mess.
Yeah, how much time do you want to get?
They gave him some double digits, big time, because it was like 4 other kids. He not getting out. He not getting out. And this is down south somewhere, but just thinking, oh God, just a thought. Because you think about your kids, or your nieces, or not, like just.
He should be castrated.
Connecticut, I always used to say this when we was in prison, that dudes 10 years, 9 years, right? And they be like, oh yeah, he really big. To me, if you touching something little, you touching and you raping something, you're going to continue doing it. I don't think that person, because that desire is going to be in them. Somebody that killed somebody, majority of the time it was a mistake that happened. So I could see rehabilitation on that.
But not on just like sex offenders.
That's just me. That's my opinion.
I personally believe anybody could change.
Yeah. It's a ball game.
That's horrible. That's a horrible. You shouldn't be able to be alive after that. But anybody can change, I believe, because people did a lot of crazy stuff and don't want to do those things no more. So somebody a serial killer probably could change, maybe. Who knows? But I believe people can change if they want to. You got to want to do better to be better.
So with change, I mean, everything in life is a sacrifice. So the $1 million question is, what you willing to sacrifice to get to where you got to go?
Facts. Yo, tell us about this Tristan thing.
Yeah, he fly.
Oh, thanks.
He got Jordans on everything.
Oh my God.
You know
So my brothers, Will and Truman, shout out Truman on the cam, chill Will. And Tristan's Clothing Boutique, they had this vision for some time, with having a clothing store with a shoe store. So we do buy, trade, sell. Started off with buying, all the exclusive like Supreme and Bape with the special collaborations. When we started buying that type of merchandise and then, reselling, and then started doing the sneakers and stuff, when you couldn't, certain Jordans you can't even get no more. We was able to get like all kinds of stuff. And so it became lucrative. It really like took off. And it was like, okay, my brothers had a vision of some merchandise. And me, I'm in the background because they know I'm running a whole outpatient program. So I'm more like, deal with like the books and that type of stuff. They deal with all the hands-on stuff. They just dropped the second catalog of merchandise. This was in the first catalog. This actual
Tristan means what?
Tristan's is just named after my son. He's the first boy in the family. So
So I see you got some merch right here. Show us
Yes.
this. Show the Tristan.
So
I mean, she came through with gifts, y'all.
Because
Yeah,
at
man.
first I thought it was
I'm
Tristan
sorry.
Thomas. I was about to be like, I don't want that guy.
leave Tristan Thomas alone. So we have quite a bit of merchandise, but I didn't know what to get you guys. So shout out to Will for being able to hold me down and grab this. So he grabbed the Tristan's hat, and I thought about the missus because I couldn't figure out with the shirt.
So this is for the wife.
Huh?
Who is
But
it?
she might want your shirt. Whoever wants it, because she might want your shirt. I'm not sure. So this one right here, this is actually has the sweat with
That's
it.
like the NASCAR.
I started to wear this today with the matching sweats. This one right here, good material, nice and thick, great quality. When you designing clothes and stuff, getting quality material and stuff is always like that be a problem a lot of the time. So you work really hard with finding the right people that you could work with, because you don't want to ever just be dropping anything on just whatever material.
Shout out to Black Goat Milk Clothing, man. I'm rocking the goat today.
I'll be over there ordering.
I'm rocking the goat.
And we sent this one over right here.
And what's
This
the
Tristan,
science?
this is just a raceway. So this is my thought process with this. And I guess because I told my brother that my focus with today was to explain how life is a long range game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you remember growing up, when they used to be like, survival of the fittest, only the strong survive.
Mobb Deep.
But real talk, let's be real, raw, and uncut about this. It's nothing but the honest to God truth. So if you trying to win this long range game, you got to be sharp up here. And this got to be in sync for survival. You're not going to survive if this and this is not in sync. I'm telling you, it can't work. Your body everything has to be lined up correctly and in tune wholeheartedly in order to literally live this race and finish it.
Word up.
So
you got another question, but if Tia Rhinehart was a kind of animal, what kind of animal would she be?
Well, naturally, with me
And
being
let's leave the lion out of it.
I wasn't even gonna say that. Well, naturally, with me being an Aries, you know, I'm a Ram, and we're very protective. We're very headstrong. We're very like we'll sacrifice anything and go without to make sure our cipher is straight at all times. No matter if we're going crazy internally, so I could look like this today, but really be shattered glass inside. But I got just enough juice to make sure my team is good. That's how we are. We're gonna make sure that never tell you nothing wrong. You know, I'm big on my father literally. You need to be a woman of your word. To my brothers, and you need to be a man of your word. There is no lying. There ain't no deceiving. There's none of that. Like, there's just certain morals, principles, and values that I literally live on that really makes sense now that I'm older, but it ain't make sense back then being younger.
So you're a Ram.
Yes.
Shout out to the Aries and the Rams.
Everything comes straight here. We be like,
Yeah.
you know how they do the old saying, shoot first, ask questions later. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, that's something that we do. Like, we'll get everything taken care of and be like, I'll deal with if this shit ain't correct, we'll deal with the aftermath later. But it's just enough to make sure everybody lined up and everybody's good.
All right. So tell our peoples how they can get in contact with you if they need some of that real therapy, that unorthodox stuff.
You did ask me why they call me that, right? Mm-hmm. Earlier. All right. So my clients gave me the name the unorthodox counselor because they felt that, number one, naturally, you know, people first impression when they go in a therapy office, most often they're gonna think you white. They're gonna think you're white, and they're not looking and thinking that, you know, a black person is gonna be the therapist, and then on top of that, to be a black owner. You know what I'm saying? It was a big heavy hitter for some people.
And a little hood.
And this is and listen, and this is why and I'm gonna get to that. So the way that I am as a person, period, and the way that I deal with life, the way I'm an open book, and the way that I could just view things in a 3-dimensional aspect has been able to get me that name, the unorthodox counselor, because there's no way I'm treating you off a textbook. It's not gonna work. And nobody wants to see a therapist that's talking through textbook. People want to feel, once again, absolutely, connected and accepted. And if they're not feeling that, nobody's gonna be able to let you get to them to see what's really going on and get the help that they need. Plus, letting them know, like, listen, you're not alone. People want to feel, they want to be validated too, that they're not alone in the madness, the chaos, the uncertainty. And they want to know that it is a possibility for change. So whether you're talking about recovery, whether you're talking about being able to recover from being sexually assaulted as a child, to being able to just move on and still function and help people, being able to still do therapy despite losing a child. Like, how do you still do therapy knowing that you lost a child? Well, I ain't had no choice, because it just, I guess it just fit me. I originally wanted to work for IBM and do computers. And then I was like, oh, I want to be a cop. My father said, my father's brother said, ain't no way you going to be a cop. So then I said, all right. I'm like, damn, what? So then it made sense. When I started doing clinical work, I was working at Forensic Health Services, 40 hours a week doing clinical work. I was working weekends only at the psych hospital, doing 15. I was supposed to work 16 hours a weekend, but we used to get mandated every weekend. So you did 32. And I did 15-hour a week internship. And I had a 9-month-old son at the time. And I used to just...
How old were you then?
At the time, I was like 27, 20, yeah, about 27. And I was sick. And I was like, yo, I'm like not seeing my son. I'm just my parents. I'm holding on to them. You know what I'm saying? Living at my mother's house with me and my son, we sleeping on the couch, you know, and bins and stuff to the top because we had nowhere to go because me and my son father had separated at the time. And so it was like, I gotta do this because I'm not working for nobody and I gotta raise this kid. Either I'm gonna be broke now or broke later. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I'm gonna have to get this broke done now
That's
because
right.
I can't be broke later.
Yeah.
And my son used to be like, "Mom, like you ain't never here" and stuff. As he started being able to like really like talk and stuff, I said, "Just hold on." By the time he hit 2.5, 3, finally graduated from school, it was like, "Oh my God,
Yo, we got
this is it."
one last thing before we be out of here. Spit your resume to the people, and then we're gonna wrap it up. We got long-winded today.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. I'm so sorry. Okay. If you need me, Tia Rhinehart Counseling Services, 182 Grand Street, Suite 301. You could get me on Instagram, Rhinehart Counseling, or the Unorthodox Counselor, Facebook.
Straight out of Connecticut.
You could just pull up Tia Rhinehart because trust me, that last name is very unique in itself, and there's only a handful of us left in my family, so you'll find us.
Yeah.
Peace and many blessings.
Peace and blessings. Shout out to Tia Rhinehart, the Unorthodox Counselor. Holla at her, get at her, man, and get what you need.
Shout out to her dad, man. If you watching,
Big Will.
Big shouts out to Big Will, man. 73 years old, man. Shout out to Big Will.
Man.
And
You
the brothers.
did a good job.
You
You did an awesome job.
Yeah, and we out. Darc N Moody, all or nothing.